Greetings. It's great to see that you're interested in the Duke MA in Applied Ethics and Policy. My name is Madeline Liddicoat, and for the next few minutes, I'm going to be taking you through a few slides that kind of give an overview of our program and maybe give you some insights that will help you decide whether or not this is the right program for you. Who should we allow to make genetic editing decisions? Is it okay to offer drugs that make students smarter? And who's at fault when a fatal automobile accident happens in an automated vehicle? These are the kind of questions that require understanding of both the technology and the science at hand and the ethics, policy, and communication skills needed to come up with solutions that work for society. Our master's program attracts students who want to learn how to navigate between science, medicine, technology, and the philosophy, law, and policy issues that surround these things. In fact, I see many applicants who have both dual majors in both sciences and technology, as well as politics, philosophy, or sociology. Our program is housed in an interdisciplinary hub here at Duke called Science and Society. And this hub brings together scholars from both the social sciences as well as the hard sciences and technology to discuss and to work together to come up with policy decisions. Who comes to this program are really a unique set of students. One, they are students from lots of different backgrounds. They are pre-health, pre-med, some of them. They are pre-law. Some have a computer science or engineering background, philosophy, public policy, poli-sci, English, econ, biology, neuroscience. I've even had a music major. We do have strong students, and the average GPA is well above the 3.2 that is required by the Duke grad school. These students are asking questions about new technology and science. They're saying, yes, we can do these things, but should we be doing these things? And if we do them, how can we do them so that they're responsible, fair, just, and offered equitably across society? And they're seeking careers that will make the difference. They need the skills at hand to make that happen. They're looking for ethical frameworks and analysis. They're looking for policymaking skills and practice. And they're looking for leadership experience where they can lead teams through those kinds of thorny topics. The program is designed to be completed within one 12-month period. We offer 4 core credits, which are required for all of our students. And that's a great baseline for all of our students to really come together and have a fundamental understanding of the issues at hand and the processes they'll need to move projects forward, whether they're interested in environmental science, whether they're interested in technology, whether they're interested in, biological issues. These are courses that really span those different topic areas and give you a baseline. But then our students pick a concentration. They'll pick between 2 concentrations, and they can major in both, but most of them will pick between bioethics and science policy or tech ethics and policy. And there's a different concentration class that is part of your required course list for both of those too. You'll kind of diverge the road at that point, and that's a spring course where students will take one of 2 different courses. Our students also then are required to do a capstone, and we do offer a program called Applied Ethics Plus, which offers a really incredible experience here on campus, led by our Deputy Director and Director of Graduate Studies, Tommy Sowers, to lead you through a 10-week practicum project where you work with real organizations. But you also can pick a third-party organization of your own choosing. And many of our students do that as well. It's kind of an independent study internship where you do a capstone project utilizing the skills that you learned in the program. But importantly, and what I really want to stress here, is that about half of your credits, about 12 credits, are going to be courses of your own choosing. This allows the program to be highly customizable. So again, you can focus on biological science, you can focus on technology issues, you can go into environmental science, you can go into neuroscience. You can study all kinds of different topics through these electives that give you an in-depth and more customized path. And I'll tell you that no two students in this program's history have ever charted the same course through this program. We also offer an additional semester. So you're going to be required to complete this program within 3 semesters, but you do have the opportunity to take an additional semester. This is great for people who really are craving more of electives. They get to take a full slate of electives, or perhaps you're an athlete and you had to take a lighter schedule. This allows you to move some of those courses into this extra semester without any penalty. Both these cases, you have your tuition basically waived, except for a $2,000 enrollment fee. So again, you get to take more electives. You can continue on with your capstone research or other research that you're doing, start your job search, become a TA, really decide what you want to do in this extra semester. And I will tell you that probably 90% of our cohort will take this extra semester. All that does is ask you to complete the program in December instead of in September, which is a great time to graduate anyway, at the beginning of the new year. So consider that as a bonus, because you don't really end up paying any tuition for that. So as I mentioned, there's 2 concentrations. So let me focus first on the bioethics and science policy concentration. So again, you'll take the 4 core courses, and then you will add on to them this bio core class called Clinical Bioethics and Health Policy. And this is taught by Dr. Janet Malik, who is also has an appointment over at the Baylor College of Medicine, where she does research, and she's worked for many years. So this is a huge benefit to our students to have a professor who is actively doing bioethics research and dealing in a clinical bioethics situation. So she teaches our core course here. But she also teaches an elective that you can take in the fall. So many of our bio concentration students will take 2 classes from Janet, one in the fall, Foundations of Bioethics, and then the Clinical Bioethics and Health Policy class in the spring. They also will wander over to the Institutes of Global Health and Population Health here at Duke, or they can go to biology, they can go to public policy, they can take classes in the law school. There's lots of different places where they can take courses that have to do with bioethics and science policy or health policy issues. They also can pursue projects through Bass Connections. Bass Connections is a year-long experiential learning opportunity where you join a team that is focused on a specific topic of interest, and they work on those projects for the 2 semesters of the academic year. And they have different themes that they're kind of bundled under. So we have a health policy and innovation theme, brain and society, health, global health, and race and society themes that often attract students who are interested in bioethics and health policy. So that's something that you apply to, and you join a team. And again, it is considered two elective classes. And then there's also opportunities to do supplemental research and engagement as a graduate school student working with alumni, or not alumni, but faculty at Duke. The Duke Margolis Institute of Health Policy is a fabulous organization that does original policy work. It's managed under Mark McClellan, who was an ex-FDA chairman here at Duke. They also have offices in Washington, D.C., and they have a program called the Margolis Scholars Program. So for students who are particularly interested in health policy, I really recommend that they look into the Margolis Scholars Program, where you basically join a second cohort. You'll be a member of our cohort, but also have a second cohort of health policy scholars that range from freshmen in college up to PhD scientists and or PhD policy students. So it's really a great opportunity to get more exposure to health policy research, to get some professional skills development, to get some mentoring specifically in that field. The other area that I think is really exciting is the Duke AI Health Initiative. This is where the engineering school here at Duke has connected with the the Med Center, and they're really working together on how to implement AI to its best advantage, but also considering the ethical implications. And our students are fully engaged. A couple of our students are doing their practicums over there this summer, working on a research project that will help guide policy for the Med Center on how they will implement AI. The tech ethics and policy concentration is really evolving. A few years ago, there were very few classes that were offered in tech policy, but it has just blossomed in the past few years. We offer the 4 core courses again, and then you will take the tech ethics core class called the Ethics of Emerging Technologies. And again, this is a class that just continues to evolve, obviously, as fast as the technology is evolving. And then there are several electives, as I mentioned, that are just popping up in every single department here at Duke. There are classes on privacy, misinformation, cybersecurity, AI law, frontier technologies. These are all classes taught throughout the university, at the law school, over at the public policy school, in the engineering school. You really will be able to scour the Duke directory to find really interesting courses there. Also, our tech policy classes can find different interests in the Bass Connections program. Again, it's a year-long commitment, but you join a team and do specific research on potentially AI implementation or privacy issues or whatnot. And then also there is lots of original faculty research going on at Duke. Specifically, there's a project that is actually run by our new interim director of science and society, David Hoffman, called Deep Tech at Duke. And a couple of our students have graduated and joined this team full time, but he's also bringing on various students from our new cohort to help, for a few hours a week that help manage the research there. There's also the Duke Center on Risk. That is another science and society pop-up where they focus on assessing risk of issues of global magnitude. So they look at space colonization, they look at global warming and the potential global technologies that can reduce global warming. What are the risks of these technologies? What are the risks of going and exploring space for colonization? What should we be thinking about? Also, Duke Law has a really interesting project where they're working with the North Carolina Bar Association on, again, how to implement AI in our courtrooms. One thing that you should really recognize in this program, which I think distinguishes it from other programs, is that you are a Duke graduate school student able to take electives throughout the university. So think of science and society as your hub. This is your home base. This is where you will be known, where your faculty know you, where you know your other students, where the staff is all supportive. But then you have the rest of the university to explore. And this is one of the world's, most renowned research universities. And you can go and take classes with renowned faculty and meet incredible scholars in the public policy school, in the law school, over in the engineering school, in the divinity school, global health, precision health, lots of different departments where you can, again, chart your own path and meet people from all over the university. It's a wonderful opportunity to explore and to really craft your own curriculum. So again, I think this is different than a lot of other schools where you may be not accessing the whole university or have more prescriptive electives. And so Michaela was a graduate of ours a couple years ago, and she made it very clear that she thought that this was one of the most important things about this program. And really, to take advantage of the opportunities that are available to you, she really recommended that during the time before you matriculate on campus, that you really work with your advisor, start talking to alumni or talking to current students or, researching classes so that when you get here, you hit the ground running, because it really is a whirlwind year, and there's just so much to choose from that it's a good idea to really plan in advance. Okay, so that's your courses. You're going to take 2 semesters on campus, whether you take them fall, spring, or spring, summer, fall. But your summer is going to be a capstone project. And this should be something that kind of puts in action, puts in practice what you've learned in the classroom. This Applied Ethics Plus is run by our Deputy Director and Director of Graduate Studies, Tommy Sowers, who he has really crafted an incredible experience for our students. This is an option. It's not the only way you can spend your capstone. Many of our students do go out and find their own internships at companies or organizations around the world. But if you would like this kind of curated and really well-managed experience, I highly recommend Applied Ethics Plus. Applied Ethics Plus is 10-week experience on campus here where you're working with an external organization. This summer, they worked with the North Carolina Governor's Office on 2 projects. One was workplace displacement in North Carolina and analyzing that from AI. Also looking at how to use AI in the North Carolina Governor's Office. They also worked with Google. They worked with NIH, the National Institutes of Health, and they worked with a local private equity or investment firm. So really interesting sets of projects. Our MA students tend to be the leads of those projects. You're leading 3 or 4 students there, whether they're undergraduates or maybe some other graduate students, but our MAs are the leads for the organizations or for those teams. And they really are charged with tackling a significant technology policy project or a bioethics project over the summer. They end up having a speaker series. They do a lot of networking. They do a lot of professional development during this program. So it's a fabulous opportunity to really shore up your skills before you leave and start your career. Talking about that, where do people go after they graduate from our program? And sorry, that slide looks a little bit funny. So essentially, what you should see here is a multicolored wheel. And what that means in general, when you look at that, is that there are lots of different exit strategies from this program. There's no one path. It's not like all of our students are going to law firms or all of our students are going to med school. Our students go lots of different places. So let's start first with who goes to other programs out of this. Significantly, only about 25%, this shows 23%, are pursuing law school, med school, or PhD degrees after they graduate from this program. So fully 77% of our students are going on to policy jobs after they leave this program using the skills that they've gained. I think this is really significant, and probably another key point of this program versus other programs is it really can be a terminal degree. It can lead you into a job that is following your passions, whether it's in a corporation, a nonprofit, in a healthcare organization, in a research organization, government, and many of our students who are lawyers go into law school, law firms, practicing health policy, practicing innovation policy. And I track all of our alumni. I know where they are: first job, second job, third job, fourth job, fifth job, where they're located, as well as what kind of companies they're in and what sector they're in. And this is just an overview of some of the companies that have hired our students to work with them. So we have people working in genomics policy, companies like 23andMe. We have environmental policy. One of our students is now working at Magnet, which is the Google Clean Energy organization. We have students working in healthcare policy, both at major health systems, like the Ottawa Hospital Center for Healthcare Ethics, as well as organizations like Amwell, which are healthcare policy startups. Many students also go to corporations like SAS, Sony AI, YouTube, to work on tech policy for those, but also there's people working in tech policy nonprofits or doing research. And then we also have students going to startups. So really, again, a wide variety and a wide placement strategy from this program. And Stephanie was a graduate of ours a couple of years ago, and she said that, this program is valuable if you want to go on to work after versus getting another degree. So yes, of course, you can get another degree if you like, and we have many students who do. About 23% of our students go on to other degrees. But those who want to just go straight into work afterwards have the skills they need to make that happen. Some of the students who do go on to other schools and things like this go on to law school, med school, PhD programs. And I think it's really interesting. They're not going into bioethics programs or tech ethics programs. They're like pursuing other things using their skills that they've gotten out of this program. So let's talk about tuition and financial aid. So Duke's tuition per semester is about $34,880. So that's times 3 semesters because we have tuition for fall, spring, and then the summer semester. So recognizing that is a high sticker price, we set up an SNS merit scholarship pool that any student who is admitted to our program will receive a scholarship. Usually it's around 20% of tuition. So that immediately takes your some pressure off of that tuition cost. We also set up a leadership award for an outstanding student who shows potential to become a leader in bioethics or tech ethics or policy work. That is offered to maybe 1 or 2 students per year, and that does require a supplemental application, and you can learn about that on our website. But essentially, those are our 2 scholarships. We also offer work study opportunities, whether you're a federal work study or just a student who wants to work. We do have lots of opportunities where our students work up to 10 hours a week, and probably 40 or 50% of our students do this because not only do they get a little bit of money in their pocket, but they also are getting great experience and exposure to faculty on these projects. So you could be working for like a deep tech, David Hoffman's project, doing original technology research. You could be working for the Risk Center on a big conference. You could be working in Science and Society on another program like a privacy day. So there's lots of different opportunities. You take your passion. I will pass those opportunities out to our students to let them know what our faculty has in store for them. And I also do put on here in terms of financial aid and the value of this program, that bonus semester. We do fully basically compensate that 4th semester if you do choose to stay. So that knocks your cost per credit kind of down. But yes, we do our best. There are some external scholarships that are available. Probably the best one for international students is the Fulbright program, and that application is due in mid-October for the following calendar year or academic year. The NSF GRFP, which is the Graduate Research Fellowship program, is due in mid-October. Those are 2 very big, very powerful programs that I highly recommend. Of course, we work with our veterans and veterans and also current enlisted folks for the Yellow Ribbon program. And also there's a program called the SAMVID Scholars that is open in February. They let you know in April if you've gotten that scholarship. It's a really highly touted scholarship, and I'm hoping that one of our students gets that someday. The admissions timetable is such. First of all, we have 2 intakes. We have spring and fall intake. For the spring intake, which is in January, it's usually a smaller cohort, somewhere around 5 students per year. And the application deadline is actually October 1st. And you will learn whether you are in a couple weeks, and then you need to let us know 2 weeks after that, November 1st. So this is a really fast turnaround, but it's a great opportunity to start in January instead of waiting until August of the following year. You graduate in either December or in May, so it's a really decent schedule as well. If you decide to join the larger cohort in the fall, there are a couple of deadlines I want you to be aware of. One is January 22nd is the early action deadline. That is non-binding, so you don't have to accept that decision. However, you do need to let us know by April 15th. That is the deadline for letting us know. But it gives you a lot of time. Basically, we promise to get your decision back to you by February 28th. So you have fully a month to get your financing, find housing, figure out whether you're going to come here or not. It's a great opportunity, and I highly recommend that for students who are in up to speed and getting going early on this process. The regular deadline is March 16th, and you have to turn that around fairly quickly. By April 15th, you'll need to let us know whether you're coming or not. And then if we have space available, so this is a big question mark, if we have space available, we will roll admissions through May to add more students to the program. What do you need for the admissions program? You need your college transcripts, and I say scripts because if you went to a overseas program, if you went to a junior college, any colleges that you add up to in your GPA, you will need to show your transcripts. So just be ready for that. Also, you do not need to have any standardized tests for this program. We do ask for 3 letters of recommendation, and those can be the stickler. I mean, if you're trying to make a deadline, you've got to ask for those recommendations fairly early. So we do ask that one of them at least is an academic reference, someone from your college or grad school if you've gone to grad school. And then there are 3 essays. One is your statement of purpose. The second is going to be a kind of a custom essay. It's about an ethical dilemma regarding technology or science. So you can write about genetic editing, you can write about social media, you can write about privacy concerns, you can write about a lot of different topics, anything you want. We just want to see how you think, how you lay it all out, and what you might recommend in terms of approaches for policy solutions. We also ask for one last essay about your career plans, and that's a kind of a short essay, a couple paragraphs, where you will discuss where you plan to go short term and kind of longish term. Love to know kind of your trajectory. I'm not looking to fill the class with all people who want to go into med school, so I'm hoping that we get a good smattering of people that have lots of different outcomes, and that helps us. So let me just recap that this MA in Applied Ethics and Policy is a 1-year program with an optional extension semester. We have the 2 concentrations between bioethics or tech ethics. The customizable curriculum is really key. This means that you are going to develop the electives and the slate and kind of the direction that is really of your choosing. We are flexible in terms of the course scheduling. So for example, if you're an athlete and you are only available to really take a few classes in your busy semester, then you can move some of your other classes to another semester and do that 4th semester. We have spring and fall admissions, and we really do offer a lot of valuable post-Duke career training in our very applied ethics type of programming. You will walk out of here with defined projects that you have worked on that really show how you apply this training. My name is Madeline Liddicoat again, and I am happy to take your questions. If you have any, just send me an email and we can pop online for a Zoom call, or I can answer them via email. I appreciate your attention today and hope that you will apply to our program. Thank you so much.